So here we are again. And I don't know if I'm going to post this or not, honestly. Um, sometimes you get exhausted explaining yourself. And then it gets especially poignant and fucking terrifying when you realize you haven't heard an explanation of what other people are ever. No one that you know has sat down and explained themselves and how their brain works. So you can understand them. I've gone through an awful lot of trouble just to understand myself. I have this weird thing called metacognition, and I can explain it to you in the following way. I do not have an inner monologue. And an inner monologue means you hear your own voice inside of yourself and you talk to yourself, you talk yourself through things, like you can read silently and hear all the words. I can do that. I have to force it, and it's exhausting. It's not my natural state. It's very tiring. And I can just, 20 minutes, one shot, that's it. That's all I have. So my mind runs in pictures. And whatever shows up verbally is what's the explanation in here for the things that I've learned internally that I don't hear about the things that I've seen. So when you see me walking down the road and I'm talking, I'm understanding what I learned that I haven't looked at in a long time. I'm not talking to you. I don't know what's in there until it comes out of me. And the weird magical part is, okay, I can have my headphones on, not hear myself talk. But once it's generated, the thoughts come out, the lesson's there. I understand what I've learned. And I don't even need to hear it. I just need to have it come out of me, and it paints the picture in my mind again. And I'm like, oh, that's what it is. And then that picture paints another one, and all of a sudden I have a puzzle that's completed, or a section of one. And I don't know what's in there until I bring it out. I don't even have to hear it most times. It's weird. And you'll see me talking to myself, or singing usually. Everything I've ever thought, it's locked in there and I can't hear it. So it comes out in pictures. It's really hard. I have no friends because friends require communication that both people understand. And I think in pictures, so everything's literal. Or symbolic, if it's something I haven't actually seen. It's weird. But I can decipher the symbolism and tell you what it means. It's very specific. It's very lonely. And I actually enjoy being alone, but I don't like being lonely. They talked about people being empty vessels, right? I think that's what they were getting at. Because I don't hear the voice in there. And the occasional ones I hear are not mine. I know what I sound like. I struggle to make the noise internally, monologue-wise. But I think in pictures. And I remember everything in pictures. And it is very difficult to have a conversation with anyone. And I lived with a man for almost 30 years that abused me, and I didn't even realize it because he didn't allow me to bring whatever was in there, the sound in me, out of me in any way whatsoever. And I was blind inside as far as sound, because I couldn't assess the pattern without saying it out loud, and if I spoke out loud, I was punished. So I didn't know what was in there. And I didn't know what I had learned or saw. I just see pictures. They're like silent movies. And they're filed away. So I have to have what you would call a trigger to bring it up again so I could see it again. And if I still didn't speak it out loud or deal with it, I would know what it meant. I would have no idea. And I don't have anything in there to egg me on to look at something again. There's no voice. There's music and there's pictures. That's it. I don't hold things against people because I don't remember the things you say about me. I don't even remember the things you say to me, but I know and I remember the way you make my body feel. And if you make me feel like I'm in danger or terrified, you'll never see me again. It's the way my brain works. It's cognitive efficiency, also known as autism level 1, ADHD inattentive. Thanks, asshole. Also, all kinds of other neurosparkly crap that I can explain very easily to you. That's where I was going to get. Okay. Do you know why I have great metacognition? Metacognition is how you think about thinking. So you're like an observer to your thoughts. Because that's the way I think. I think in pictures. And I can zoom out, and I don't have this weird little inner monologue to tell me stories and hurt my own feelings. I just look at facts, and facts aren't feelings. And feelings aren't facts. So I can tell you what I see. And I can tell you what I remember when something brings it up in me and I remember. And that's how I know. And if I don't deal with it or paint it or write it or draw it or create it or build it or whatever or speak it, I have no idea what it means. And that's what's called metacognition. I understand that's how I think. And I can do that because I can zoom out and look at the way I live my life and hear myself and see what I think and how I've worked my life throughout forever. And I can tell you, that's how I think. And I don't have a hurt feelings report to fill out. That's all it is. And that's how I can look at things like an engineer or a systems analyst. And I've thought that way since the day I was born. I remember crawling into my crib in dirty sleepers. Like full motion video in my mind. The color of the room, the time of day, like everything, all of it from a first person perspective. And you know what? Oddly enough, I can actually place my eyes in the corner of the room and look at myself walking across the room with the same memory that I'm looking through my own eyes. I can do 3D rendering mentally with anything I've ever looked at. Even to the point of I can look at the bottoms of your boots. The sole of your boots. I don't know how I do it, I just do. It's weird. Try having a conversation with somebody like me. And I don't even do small talk. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what a friend is. I've never had one that didn't hurt me. I don't know what love is. Because I've never felt it given to me. I have no idea. But I know what hate is. I'm very familiar with hate. I wrote a poem on my way here in Midland, Ontario, because I want to do that every fucking few minutes. It seems. And I wrote this poem, and it says, I was made for love and war, and I had no idea that was a thing. I just knew that was the facts. I'm really good at war. I'd like to try something different now. But I don't think it exists in a way that I would understand it with the way that I have to communicate. And I don't think anyone would give me a chance. I gave myself my own chance. And you can laugh at me and poke fun at me and call me all kinds of shit behind my back. And you know what? It's been that way all my life. And every time it hurts, it never changes. Skin doesn't get thicker over your heart. But I put up all these walls, and they aren't walls, by the way. It's called armoring. It's called armoring. And I feel it physically. And do you know when it goes away? When I use plant medicine and it gets chipped off of me, just one thin little layer, and I can feel like no one's going to hit me. And if they did, it wouldn't hurt. It's the only thing that allows me to take my armor off sometimes. And it's a medical prescription, by the way. And I am critiqued for that too. And I am called a drunk, and I am called a drug abuser. And by the way, my family, I come from a family of alcoholics. And I've had every opportunity to become one, and I've never taken Satan up on that offer. I have watched it destroy people. And I've watched those people destroy others. Not interested. Same with drugs. I went to inpatient treatment programs for post-traumatic stress disorder so severe they didn't think I'd ever make it out alive. Hi. Still alive. Loving life, thanks. But I worked with doctors, nurses, lawyers, politicians in those rehab centers because they are also centers for addictions, of which I did not have one. But I met some beautiful people because it was mandatory to take all the programming. Best kind of people. Very sensitive people, probably neurodivergent in their own way, very sensitive souls, very sensitive bodies, not understanding how to not feel so much, how to take that armor off. It doesn't come off, by the way. For a few months before I ran from that man that was hurting me so badly, I actually felt claustrophobic inside of myself. I wanted to crawl out of my own body that I was trapped in. And that was the me that couldn't speak. And I've always been slapped for talking. And you still do it. You just don't do it physically anymore. So tell you what. Make up your stories. Sell your lies to each other. But I will tell you this. I love you. And you don't know what you do. And that's okay. Leave me alone. Don't bring hatred in my home. I live with it for decades. It's not welcome here anymore. And I love you anyway. From way over here. You don't know the things you say, how much they cut people. No one knows me. I don't know how come they tell stories. No one knows me. Now you know why. I see the patterns. Every single one. And I still go out for walks anyways. Go ahead and hate me. And you know what? I was considering leaving, but it would be the same no matter where I went. And I need to have a home that I don't have to run from. And I hope it's here.